Welcome, everybody, to the Pro Football Doc YouTube channel. I'm Thomas Casale here with Dr. David Chao, Pro Football Doc. Well, Doc, last week it was Dak Prescott. Will he play? Won't he play? You had a strong opinion on that. You were 100% correct, even though some people thought he was going to play because of the farce he did pregame, but you were all over it. I got to give you credit. This week, Doc, we go to Arizona. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins haven't practiced all week. We'll get into the betting aspect of it. The odds makers, just like last week with Dak, have already spoken. The line has moved quite a bit. What are you seeing on this situation, and do you think either one of those two plays on Sunday versus the 49ers?
Well, first of all, apologize for the lighting and the hat and the whole thing in between surgeries here. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, it's not official yet. They're headed for a third straight DNP. Now, Thomas, you got your eye on the lines and the pulse on the gambling world, etc. I don't. I'm not even in a legal gambling state. But I just go by injuries and what I think. And it's my impression that it's likely that it's one up, one down. Hopkins, I don't think he's going to play. Because why? We had a low six score on him because he came into that Thursday game with a hamstring. He didn't finish the game. Well, he kind of did, right? He went rogue and came back in. But teams don't like to play a man short. And usually when you don't make it through a game for an injury, you end up resting the next game. Look, I'm reading tea leaves here, but I don't believe DeAndre Hopkins plays. And even if he does, he's still going to have a lower six score because of risk of aggravation and lack of production. Kyler Murray is more mysterious. By video, by injury, we noted that ankle sprain in game. It was on that play that where he got a first down and maybe the spot was beneficial. And we said an eversion sprain. And you saw him limping at the end. It affected the last throw play. Obviously, the throw was on target, miscommunication, the whole deal. We've talked about that in the podcast. And it's a real ankle sprain. But it's not a pure high ankle sprain where his foot was planted. He has 10 days. Absolutely, it makes me nervous that he has not logged a single LP. But you have to understand, this is not a Dak Prescott situation. First of all, judging by video, I think it's possible that he will play still, even with the DNPs. And that's what I go on. Will he be 100% mobile? Probably not. But here's where the Dak and Kyler situations differ. Dak was at risk for making it worse where he now might miss 4 weeks. Kyler, if he plays through, can make it more sore, but he's not going to now all of a sudden miss 4 weeks because unless there was a new trauma, right? Dak could just be dropping back and moving and all of a sudden he's out 4 weeks or more. Kyler, unless someone hits that ankle in a bad way, it's not going to happen. So that's number one difference. The number two difference is Arizona only has one loss. The Cowboys only had one loss. But the Cowboys had 3-4 game lead in the NFC East. The Arizona Cardinals do not, right? In addition, yeah, they're playing the 49ers, and some would say that's, quote, a winnable game without Kyler, even with the backup Colt McCoy. But here's the difference. It's a divisional game. There's no give-me's. And head-to-head's the first tiebreaker. The second one's divisional record. This is a big game for Arizona. And there are other teams with one loss in the division. Forget the overall home field stuff. So judging by injury, I think he still can play. Judging by circumstance of what it would look like if I were in the room for the Cardinals, and I'm not, I've been in the room for the Chargers, I think there's pressure to try and play him. No offense to Colt McCoy. He may not be 100% though, Kyler Murray. But as you're going to get into, the odds makers, quote, have spoken and said they're moving the line. But I'm not an odds maker. I'm not a sharp. I'm not a betting guy. So what do you think, Thomas?
Yeah, so we'll look at this. It's similar to last week. The line has moved around 4 points towards the 49ers. That happened on Thursday. Last week you were pretty emphatic that Dak wasn't going to play, and with the line movement, I thought there was zero chance he played, and he didn't. This one, there's two players involved here because we have to remember the line doesn't just move on the starting quarterback. It also depends who the backup is. And whatever you think about Colt McCoy, he's not a trash backup. He's won games in this league. He's in Kingsbury's offense. So, I do think it's interesting it moved that much. I do have a guy who kind of feeds me information, and he did text me that Kyler Murray will not play. He's not 100%. I would put him in the 80% range with his information, so it's good info. He's getting it probably from odds makers who made those line changes. One thing you have to remember about guys in Vegas, they're responsible for millions of dollars. And if they move lines like this and they lose money, their bosses are going to want to know why. So always keep that in mind. But there's one thing I want to ask you, Doc, because last week you were kind of in line with the odds makers. This week you're a little, you're saying, I think he might play. You've told me many times there are very few true game time decisions. Is this one of them?
Well, there's lots of game time decisions in terms of let's be sure, right? I mean, for Kyler, this is probably either we know he's not going to play, we're playing the ruse. But if that were the case, why wouldn't they just put him on the field for an LP, one snap? That continues the ruse, right? Now, there's also game time decisions like maybe in this case where let's just run around and make sure you're okay to play, but the decision's already made. So it's not like nothing is figured out on game day. I'm just saying you're basically already deciding whether he's not playing or is playing. And there might be a chance it changes, but you know going in what's going to happen. And that's what I mean. It was very rare that it was true. Oh, it's 50-50. We're not sure. Let's see what he does. It just doesn't work that way.
All right. Okay. Well, Doc, hey, you nailed Dak. I'm not going to doubt you. The odds makers are on the other side of the fence this week. And your points are valid, being a divisional game, being he can't hurt it more, where Dak could have been out for a month if he re-injured his. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. DeAndre Hopkins, I agree. I think there's a chance that he doesn't play because, like you said, he can re-injure that, and he came into last Thursday's game injured. So, hey, let's watch the line. Let's see what happened. They're not always right, Doc, but we'll have all the information.
And neither am I.
No.
Look.
But because like you said, you're going by video. The odds makers are going by information. No, only the team truly knows, right?
Yeah, and I go by insider knowledge based on my time in the NFL. My sources are my eyes and my brain. I mean, it's just video. I don't get to examine Kyler. I'm not in the room. But look, I know I'm kind of doubling down on the DNPs and the line movement, but I think I would be a fraud if I just changed my mind based on line movement. If I'm wrong, I'll take the L. I'm wrong. But this is just what I think where it's laying out, and we'll see.
All right. Well, everyone, hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to profootballdoc.com. Follow us at profootballdoc on Twitter. We're going to have tons of breaking information on Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, everybody this week in the NFL. Come by, check out our 6 scores. And, Doc, we'll see what happens.